Corporate greed, the pursuit of excess wealth by making decisions devoid of any notion of morals or ethics. This video is not entertainment, it's a bitter truth. I'd like to expose how our purchasing habits encourage corporate greed in relation to Moscowit's expansionist war. My name is Yaroslav, I'm from Ukraine. Welcome to my channel where I bust Moscow myth and expose lies about Ukraine. The European Parliament in 2022 has declared Moscovia as a state sponsor of terrorism. These 6 countries have recognized Kremlin as a terrorist organization. Moscovia supports Taliban and Hamas, which are widely recognized as terrorists. Moscovites are aligned with other like-minded dictatorships like Iran, Syria, Belarus, North Korea, and getting ever closer with China. Moscovia's emperor, Putin, has an arrest warrant for committing an act of genocide. So we literally have right now this empire of evil, alive and prospering. All meanwhile, according to Yale, over 1,000 Western companies are still operating in the Moscovia's market. They continue to do business with them, continue to pay taxes to them, thus directly sponsoring the war. One of those businesses is behind me right now, operating completely free in a democratic country. I present to you Nespresso that is owned by Nestlé. Nestlé is a business who refused to exit evil empire's market. It's a business that paid millions of dollars to the budget of Moscow Empire. It's a shady business that classified their profits, but we do know they've invested in new technologies in Moscovia. This is also a business who 80 years ago supported a Nazi regime in Germany. And yet, with our quiet submission, they continue to profit from us. By using Nestlé services, we support a corporation who, for the second time in human history, supports a fascist regime in the process of committing a genocide. On top of that, Nestlé's history is full of immoral actions, deceptions in their ad campaigns, toxins in their products that led to death, draining our water in areas suffering from droughts, using child slave labor to gather cacao beans, numerous environmental violations, demanding from Ethiopia $6 million during a famine, doing business with Zimbabwe's dictator. Cherry on the top is that profits from Moscovian share of business are only 2% from the global. Well, imagine the corporate greed of those bastards that cannot give up 2% of their shares for greater good of all humanity. And again, this filth of corporation is right there, working completely unhindered. Corporate greed, alive and prospering, right in front of our eyes. And this is the bitter truth. All of this is possible due to our mindless consumerism. The vast majority of people, if not all of them, shopping in Nespresso are just not aware that they are sponsoring the war. Heck, even I didn't know Nestlé was sponsoring one. I still own their coffee machine. It's a great tragedy that we are so little informed. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine is maintaining a list of companies who are sponsoring the war. This list is quite unorganized. There is a Chinese railroad company together with a US company producing Milka chocolate bars. Clearly, someone needs to organize this list and present it in an understandable manner, which is exactly what I'm going to do in the next segment. I'll inform you about only those companies whose products we can find in the grocery store next door. Let's go to the grocery store. Here is PepsiCo, for example, which has 19 factories still operating in the Moscow Empire, and it pays salaries to 60,000 people there. In 2022, funded terrorism for $115 million, which were paid in taxes. Covertly rebranded Pepsi under the brand YVES, thus trying to trick us as if Pepsi is not working in Moscovia. The crisps, Lays were found in the food supplies of the Moscow's invaders' army. Looking at the lineup of brands under PepsiCo umbrella, it's apparent that boycotting this corporation would actually benefit your health. Here is United States corporation Mondelez, that according to Forbes is leader in growth in the Moscow Empire's markets, and again freely operating in democracies. In 2023, their profits grew by 38%. Mondelez funded genocide of Ukrainian people for millions of dollars. Yet Norway's stores are full of their products. And Norway is probably the most humane country there is. Here is Mars, another corporation operating in Moscovia with increasing profits. Has 10 factories and sponsored terrorism for over $50 million. Here is British mega corporation Unilever. 8 factories operating in Moscovia and put over $50 million in the pockets of terrorists in 2022. Watch out for Procter & Gamble, another sponsor of terrorism with increasing profits, operating in Moscovia and sponsoring war. Okay, here is the French corporation Bonduelle officially claiming that it will continue working for the terrorists, simply because it's not prohibited by EU or French government. The company was also spotted sending out gifts to the invaders with the message, "Come back with victory." A very disgusting corporation that makes this world worse, yet freely available in Norway. So every time Norwegians buy one of those, they indirectly support war. Crazy, right? Together with Nestlé, I've counted 8 corporations that we could find in our grocery stores. All of them, at the moment of the recording, are listed as sponsors of war on Ukraine's website I previously mentioned. Lastly, there is this French company, YVES ROCHER. They were spotted sympathizing with the fascists. On the Moscow Institute of Cosmetology website, they were running a promotional article where we could read the following. When patriotic feelings in Russia are stronger than ever, YVES ROCHER celebrates the unique and exceptional nature of pure Russian beauty. The best genes from generation to generation have created a unique image of Russian beauty, and our duty is to preserve and multiply it. While the original page was removed, we're still able to find it in the Internet archives. We'll link down to it in the description below. Every dollar we spend is a vote. A vote for the kind of world we all want to live in. Remember how I mentioned that Nestlé was demanding $6 million from a famine-starved Ethiopia? That demand was in 2002, but Nestlé's claim dated all the way back to the 1970s, when the military regime in Ethiopia seized the assets of foreign companies. For a company that makes over $1 billion each year, asking a famine-stricken country for a 32-year-old debt of $6 million was completely insane. The public outrage of this action came almost overnight. In the end, Nestlé took a U-turn, which became one of the most famous cases of public toppling corporate greed, proving once and again that awareness is our greatest weapon. We also have to take it easy with ourselves. We as human species are still evolving. Just a couple hundred years ago, we were burning women as witches. 100 years ago, we had child labor as the norm. Just 50 years ago, we treated homosexualism as a disease. Alan Turing, a pioneer in computer sciences, had to be chemically castrated in 1952. That's insane. So we as human species actually made some enormous leaps of progress, and we are currently a bit overdue for another leap. Corporate greed should be completely eradicated from human society, like a virus of smallpox was. I think the most lethal weapon to fight corporate greed is being informed. Some Swedish stores had an excellent idea. They added a note next to Mondelez products, simply informing buyers that this corporation is funding terrorism. Wouldn't it be awesome if all stores had something similar? It would make our choices so much easier to make, and at the same time it would behead corporate greed. Let's demand from our grocery stores to keep us informed or to completely stop supplying products from corporations sponsoring war. Make it easier for us to make a right choice. Make it easier for us not to support corporate greed. Another awesome way to wield our lethal weapon would be to share this video. Let's be raising awareness around this subject. Let's stop buying products from corporations until they leave the evil empire's market. I also recommend to sign up for a newsletter from Be4Ukraine website to stay up to date on the current information. Link to this site will be in the description. For those willing to do extra steps, I've designed a bunch of flyers which we could print and spread around. Tuck it near the price tags or hang at the entry points of grocery stores. The link to those files will also be available in the description below. Speaking of grocery stores, let's be aware that French Auchan and German Metro still operate with the increasing profits in the Moscow Empire. What a greedy bunch. If we can minimize our shopping there by at least 20 or even 5%, I think that would already cause them a significant loss, and I believe they would reconsider sponsoring terrorists. I think it's also important to acknowledge many companies that refused to support the war, and despite the financial losses, by their own will, they have stopped doing business with Moscow Empire. Project LeaveRussia.org has a list of those companies, which you can see on the screen right now. There are a total of 350 businesses, among them grocery store Spar, McDonald's, KFC, Starbucks, food brands Kellogg's, Sodexo, Dr. Oetker, beers Carlsberg and Heineken. Also, I'd like to acknowledge IKEA and SAS, who not only exited Moscovian market, but also stopped doing business with the greedy Mondelez corporation. And lastly, I'd like to express my gratitude for the Swedish chain of supermarkets ICA. They were, as far as I know, the only ones who started informing their buyers, thus making this world a bit better. Thank you, ICA. Let's for a moment envision a world where profits coexist with ethical practices, where corporations prioritize human lives and our planet, literally our only home. Wouldn't that be awesome? Well, it's within our power to change that. We can educate ourselves, raise our voices, and hold corporations accountable for their greedy actions. Thank you all for watching. Consider sharing this video to spread awareness. In the comment section below this video, I will pin my comment, which will have current information and any updates in case anything changes at the time that you're watching this video. Also, you've probably noticed that I haven't been calling Moscovia as Russia. That's because they stole Russian identity. To find out more how exactly they've done it, watch my episode Theft of Millennia. I've also been calling them as an empire. I have evidence to support this claim in my two-part episodes that you can watch on my channel as well. And lastly, I've also called them fascist, but I'm still working on this video. So subscribe to my channel not to miss that one.